All right, there we go. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Team here, and this is BxJS livestream. And yes, it's actually happening finally after I don't even know how many months, to be honest. But here we are, finally got around to doing the web components. And today we are going to be building an app with web components and checking out how do you actually use web components in 2020, how far they have progressed, and how good is the experience, basically. So as an intro, I guess, I have used web components back in 2000, what was it, 16, I think, when they were first released, or maybe even 15. Back then, we only had drafts for specifications. We didn't even have HTML templates at the time, so we only had custom elements, shadow DOM, and ES modules in the very early versions, and they weren't like, very well implemented, basically. None of the browsers supported that. They were only in Chrome, like behind the flags, and the experience was suboptimal to say the least. Tried it, was underwhelmed, dropped it, and basically never picked up again until now. So we are gonna revisit them and see how much better, or I mean, hopefully better, they become over the last 5 years, I guess. Hey Memphis, welcome to the stream. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we are going to be using the framework we built on the previous streams, Graffiti for our GraphQL backend, and we're going to be building a front end for our app, whatever that will be. I'm not sure yet. We're going to figure it out. So basically, yeah, the idea is to use Graffiti so we don't have to spend time and focus too much on the backend and just build the front end for it using web components and see how far we can get within one stream. Hey Marina, welcome to the stream. All right, now that we got this out of the way, so there is an official website called webcomponents.org that contains pretty much everything related to web components, starting from the official specs, docs, and so on and so forth, going to the collection of related tools, elements, components, and so on and so forth, right? So the core thing about web components is that it's sort of supposed to be this building block of the web that can be transferred and reused from any framework ever. It's sort of like, the core element of the browser, but customizable, right? So this is kind of the gist of it. And most of those tools are very thematic, meaning that most of them are actually real elements. So like standalone elements, like for example, this GitHub elements, where, okay, for whatever reason, where is the link to them? Is it just my browser blocking something or what's going on? I'm pretty sure there should be something more here. Okay, then yeah, okay, where's my link? Something is a bit off here. Anyway, let me just look at the chat. Hey Bilal, welcome to the stream. Hey YS, welcome to the stream. Hey Artemi, welcome to the stream. Welcome, guys. Right, so coming back to the components. So essentially, most of the web component related libraries and tools are actually centered along or like around, I guess, the components themselves. As in, you actually have Elements UI or GitHub Elements or Polymer paper elements, right? Which are completely separate components that you can, if you want a fancy input, you can actually just grab this. For whatever reason, doesn't load. I guess my JavaScript is blocked. So come on now. There we go. So we got the paper input, paper checkbox, whatever. And this is a standalone thing, which you can just drag into your app and just use it as is, right? In our case, I don't really want to assemble the whole stack ourselves, even though we can. So I want something more coherent, I guess, right? All-in-one experience. And there is a couple of web component frameworks out there, but I thought that the Stencil would be the most sort of, at least from my initial research, this is the most popular one, and it seems like the most advanced one out there. So essentially it's built on top of web components. It's run by the guys from the Ionic, which, they're pretty big, so they have a lot of resources contributed to this. Seems like Stencil can do everything we want, and there's already a bunch of companies using it, such as Apple, Amazon, Porsche, whatever, Microsoft, which is kind of good. So we are going to just use that and then drag in additional web components as needed, basically. So this is kind of the gist. The cool thing is that, yes, because web components are feature of the platform itself, right? You can use them with any other existing frameworks, be it React, Angular, Vue, Ember, really any framework, right? Because this is just the platform. And this is kind of the selling point of web components, so that we no longer have to build framework-specific components, but we rather can just take the ones that are universal and reuse them wherever we go. So yes, let us just get to the coding, I guess. I have not used Stencil, like I've just did research basically to find the all-in-one framework for web components, and that's basically it. So I have no idea what this is going to be and how it's going to work. So just going to jump in and see how that works. Hey Swirlo, welcome to the stream. Right, so it says run npm init install, and this is exactly what we're going to be doing. So I already created the... I guess I should do git, or maybe no, maybe I shouldn't do git init. What if I run it here? Will it init it in the current folder? I hope so. Okay, so we got Ionic Progressive Web App. We got app, minimal starter for building Stencil app or website. Or we got a separate component scaffold, which is quite nice. So let's go with the app. Like, I wonder what's the difference. So Ionic, what is the Ionic Progressive Web App? What's the difference between, you know what, let's go with a normal app. And project name, okay, web components, GraphQL app, let's just call it that. Confirm. Okay, did it create a new folder? Yes, it did. Okay, so I need to do what? I need to move my web components folder to, say, olds, and then we need to move the web components inside over here. And then remove the web components old. Okay, that was way... I mean, I could have done it in a simpler way, but do we have the git? No, we don't have the git, so we do git init, git... what is the git ignore here? Let's just check it out real quickly. That looks fine. Okay, git add git commit initial stencil app scaffold, right? Okay, just gonna assign that. Cool, so we got our first thing. Open the code here. I think I already have it open. Yes, let me dock it to the site. Reload the folder. There we go. Okay, so let's see what the docs say. Starting a new project. Updating. We don't need to update. My first component. Okay, I would first like to know how the hell do I start it. So I guess let's just check out the BxJS ourselves, because it doesn't really tell us how to start it. Right, so there's the start script. Stencil builds def watch serve. Okay, so I assume it automatically serves it, which I guess let's go with yarn start and oh, right. Probably need to do npm install. That was really fast. Like, holy shit, it was fast. Is the dependency tree like super tiny? Because it just... So we got Stencil core and we got Stencil router, and I assume... So if we have, okay, I'm curious now. Wait, let's have a look at the node modules. Okay, there's literally just Stencil stuff, and there's literally just 3 modules in there. That is really impressive and kind of cool. Okay, anyway, let's go back to the yarn start now. So we got our app. We got a pretty nice dev experience here. We got 2 pages, and yeah, looks quite nice. Let me have a look at the chat. I've tried out lit HTML and lit element a while ago, curious to see how it would compare to Stencil. I mean, I think the lit HTML and lit element more like a more component related stuff, right? So you don't really build apps with them, rather you build components. And I picked Stencil specifically because it's sort of aimed towards building the apps, right? Because it has like the router integrated and everything. But we're probably going to drag in the lit components at some point and just try to add one of them and see how that goes. Hey, my love, welcome to the stream. All right, so we got that. We figured out the... Oh, yeah, there's already tests here. That is super nice. And it's TypeScript. Okay, that is impressive. I'll take that. Right, so we got the config. Config right now is global style, global script, task queue async, whatever that is. Sets task queue used by Stencil runtime. The task queue schedules DOM reads and writes across the frames to efficiently read and reduce the layout thrashing. Interesting. So it has some sort of a task queue for whatever reason. Okay, so we don't know, not using service worker. I guess there is a way to do that. I assume that Ionic Progressive Web App automatically plugs in the service worker and such, but we're not interested in that right now. So we already have the manifest. We got our global CSS, which is super straightforward right now. We got the app, which, so I guess this is like the bootstrap function essentially, and it doesn't really do anything. We got our components. We got, okay, the assets are just the icon, whatever. That's not interesting. So we got app root, CSS. Okay, this is our tests. This is that types? Why is there no types for that? So what are we using for, I guess we're using Stencil for testing, right? So it's since we're running the Stencil test, I assume this is not Jest or anything like that, but probably, or maybe it is Jest. Is there, I need like typing for that. It's testing, there we go. Overview, so what are we doing? Both types use Jest. Okay, so they are using Jest and they are browser. Okay, so you use, it's basically just Jest with Puppeteer and they just wrap it in a nice convenient command, which is cool. Like that's perfectly fine. Okay, so I need npm and so we need types Jest, right? So let's add that because I want, if we're using TypeScript, then let's do it correctly. So we got this. Please reload the types. There we go. So now we get the Jest types, which is kind of nice. So what does it actually do? End-to-end page. So I assume this is the what do you call it? Puppeteer page, right? So it loads this. Yeah, so this is the page, this Puppeteer reference essentially, and then we just do the basic lookup, which is perfectly fine. Okay, cool. And then this is our component. So they are also using JSX here, which is interesting because like this is not what you typically do with web components, right? So this, I guess they have their own stencil compiler for that. It doesn't work with Yarn. What do you mean? Like Yarn and NPM are not that different, right? So that it will work equally fine with both. Anyway, let me think for a second. So we got this, yeah. So we were looking at this. So classes, not a fan of that, but we can work with that. So we got the component decorator that comes from the Stencil core that has the tag. So I guess this is how we define the tag. You can attach the style and you can say whether or not it uses Shadow DOM. This is, yeah, so this one was one of the things that when reading about Stencil was interesting, is that they allow you to use Shadow DOM as basically opt-in or opt-out, which is kind of cool. So I know that there are still, to this day, some issues related to Shadow DOM, and there's like some edge cases where basically you don't actually want to use Shadow DOM, and it's kind of cool that they basically allow you to just say false here, and the component will render into the normal DOM without using the Shadow DOM, which is kind of great. Okay, so my question is, how the hell is it bootstrapped? So we got this app root here, right? We got the profile, I assume it's more or less the same component. Yeah, so we got the app profile component. We got the app home, which is also the app home components. All of those are rendered in root, right? No, not here. Okay, interesting. So where is, how the hell? Okay, we got, no, that's, wait. Where's the entry point? So we got the index HTML. Is it just, oh, okay. So it, right, the entry point is HTML because it is web components. True. Good point. So it renders app root component, which is loaded from here. And then this renders the stencil router, which is the library, right? And then, okay, so it uses, okay, so here instead of passing the components as children, you actually specify the name of the component. I wonder if you can pass any properties to it. I guess you can, right? Okay, cool. Let me have a look at the chat. You can hook up with different front-end framework. Yeah, like, as I said, this is kind of the point of web components, that they are the core of the, or they're like the native feature of the browser, and you can use them together with any framework. And it's like, I think they work with most of them. If I remember correctly, React, like the older versions of React had problems with that, but I think the new ones are a lot better, basically. What's the state of Shadow DOM support? As far as I know, the Shadow DOM, along with all the other things, are supported everywhere, basically. So if you don't look at the older browsers, such as Internet Explorer, which is, end of life anyway, all of the new stable browsers, such as Chrome, Opera, Safari, Firefox, and Edge, are supporting complete web component stack, going from templates to custom elements to Shadow DOM to AS modules. So that is not, like, support is no longer a problem, basically. Can Stencil be compared to Svelte, since it's got its own syntax too? Well, the syntax it has is not really its own, so it's like, the thing is that, I'm just pondering if we want to use Stencil really, because yes, this is not like a pure web component experience, right? Because we like it's JSX, but it's compiled to web components, which is still nicer because if you look, I guess it's compiled to templates probably, because the template spec basically allows you to define HTML templates and then use them in your JavaScript, which is pretty convenient. Actually, it wasn't around when I was first diving into the web components. So back then you had to actually use strings or string literals for templates, and that was not a nice experience. Like, this is better, but I still think I prefer the JSX. I'm guessing they compile the templates for Stencil into the HTML or like the, yeah, I guess, is it HTML templates? Yeah, it is HTML templates. So here's, yeah, JSX. Is JSX, what does it compiles to? Do they actually go into that? My component loops. Okay, so this is just JSX 101, getting reference to DOM. No, I don't care about all of that. How is it? Is there like framework integrations? Yeah, see, they actually have framework integrations in the documentation officially. So like you can just go and see like, hey, I want to run this with React, and this is how you do it, which is really damn cool, to be honest. They even show how to apply the polyfills if you need them, which is kind of awesome. Too much abstraction. I mean, you need that abstraction, right? So it's like React does exactly the same. It's just in this case, the abstraction is then compiled down to the web components, which is, I mean, arguably better than React in terms of, you know, the long-term perspectives, let's put it this way, because web components is now core and they are not going away anytime soon or probably ever, since it's web we're talking about. Anyway, I wanted to see core compiler API. So what does this actually compiles to? I'm very curious as to how it works in turn. But you know what? Okay, first of all, let's try to build something and see how that works. So we figured out the entry points. So we render this app root component, which leads us here, which means this is a render method, which is, let's just change this web components, GraphQL application, and just save it for now and see. So we should probably have, oh, right. Yes, I probably should have killed the compiler before trying that. I'm kind of curious. Do we have the hot reload here? Ta-da-dum. And yes, we do. Okay, so we got the hot reloads. That is super nice. I wonder if it persists the state, but we can figure it out later. So we got the router here. The router, we got the switch thing, and then we got two routes, profile and name. Okay, so I guess first things first, let's add the backend, right? So we're gonna go with graffiti here, and I'm just gonna go. So we don't actually need anything but graffiti, I think. Yarn add graffiti. And then we're gonna run the MongoDB from Docker. Because I'm too lazy to install it locally and it's just nicer. So I'm gonna add here mongo start. That is gonna be this docker run commands. Okay, yarn mongo start. Maybe we'll add stop remove later. Oh yeah, right. Sudo service docker start. We need to start the docker actually. There we go. So there's our okay, I already have docker kill all, docker remove exited, so clean up my docker, yarn mongo start. There we go. So we got the new instance of MongoDB running. We got the graffiti. It is our direct dependency. Now here's the thing. I mean, I guess we could have two different entry points, like one for server and other one for front end. But that's I guess, yeah, I guess it's fine for the purposes of exploration basically. So we're gonna create the schema folder, which is our graffiti schema, right? And we are gonna create, yeah, let's go with node.js. So let's just create a simple nodes thing, right? And we're not gonna have any connections. We're gonna have a simple mongoose schema for nodes that's gonna have body and name, and that's it for now. And so let me just say it. So we're going to have start. Yeah, let's just leave it at this. And then we're going to create graffiti start. And this is going to be graffiti dev, if I remember correctly. It's been a few days since I've used it. Let me think. Where's the documentation? It was in the docs folder, right? So basics is what I want. I think it was graffiti dev, right? Yeah, there we go. So we just need graffiti dev. And that means we need a second terminal here. So GitHub, building BxJS, and we need web components. Okay, yarn, graffiti, start this. This is going to start in development mode. So we got, oh yeah, oh man, okay, that might be. So here's what I'm, right, that's probably should have been localhost. What I'm thinking, no, localhost, that's not a thing. What I'm thinking is it doesn't actually have, the course headers, if I remember correctly. So that might be a bit of a problem, but we can fix that. Anyway, so we got our starter app over here. I guess let's start by, is it still running? It's probably not running. Yes, it's not running. So Mongo yarn start. So this is going to start our main app. Right. Oh, we got some fancy styling here. Okay, cool. Right. So we got our main thing and we got roots. Yeah, okay, fine. That's fine. So let's, first of all, let's change the, yeah, let's leave the profile for now. Let's go for the home. And change this to something different. Here are your notes, right? So let's go with that. So we got this thing, and then basically what we need to do is we need some GraphQL clients, and we need to fetch those nodes from the backend and then render them in here. Since I know JSX rendering is going to be super easy, so the only problem right now is GraphQL clients. Okay, GraphQL clients, JavaScript. So which ones do we have? We want something extremely stupid and simple, preferably very lightweight. Okay, so we got the official thing here. What is going on? No, that is not what I wanted to press. That doesn't seem like a list of clients. I mean, obviously we got Apollo, but it's way too heavy. And is there something lightweight and something small? I remember using something in one of my projects, but hell if I remember what was it. Okay, Apollo is definitely heavy. I think it was GraphQL request, if I remember correctly. I think I've actually used it in graffiti, if I remember correctly. Was it? So we got, this was examples. We got, was it next? Package JSON. GraphQL, yeah, Urql is another option. That is true, but I would prefer something even smaller. Most simple and lightweight GraphQL client. Yeah, okay. You know what? Let's take that. So we are just going to go with GraphQL request because it is most simple and lightweight. So let's do that. Okay. And this is our request, and this is how we run it. Okay, seems straightforward. So we just copy paste this here. Right, I hope it has TypeScript definitions. Okay, now we need to figure out where to send this request, right? So, okay, first of all, we're going to be sending it to localhost 3000 GraphQL, right? And then we're going to be sending the query. Okay, now the question is, how does the lifecycle works? So we got lifecycle methods. We got connected callback. Okay, so you got a special callback for the web component attachment, which is something that you typically don't really have in React or any other really library, because that's not the thing, right? So okay, we got will load, we got will render, did loads, and I guess we could go for will render, right? Or maybe I guess will load. Yeah, I guess did load should work fine. Let's go for that for now. Okay, so we got this, and then it's probably, I hope it supports async methods. Result awaits request GraphQL query. Okay, so we are going to be getting this result right over here. Now another, okay, where's the request coming from? Why is it? I assume it's coming from here. Yes, there we go. Okay, so next question is internal state. There we go. Okay, so decorators for states. Ugh. Oh boy, not a fan of that, but okay, we can work with this. I guess they are automatically reactive then, since they're using decorators. So we need a decorator from here, right? And then we just say that this has add state, and it's for whatever reason function call. And then we're gonna have data. I mean, fetch is fine, but fetch is annoying because you still have to like do the whole query stuff yourself, which is bleh. Don't want that. Okay. So data is, or I guess let's call it nodes to be more precise. Okay, since it's TypeScript, it types it, so I guess let's do that as well. Array of objects. For now, it's just going to be objects. Maybe we'll create the node object later on. Okay, yeah, that seems right. And then we just use this. Okay, let's just log it anyway. This nodes equals results. Okay, and then let me just render it. Whoops. So I guess I'm just gonna do pre here and JSON stringify this nodes. Yeah, let's see how that works. We're still running. No, I think I stopped it, right? Yeah, because I've added the client. Okay. Fine, let's see. Please open here because I have the DevTools running as our, where's our request? Localhost, no, that's not it. Where's our XHR? It's no 333. Okay, wait a second. Where's my request? Yeah, there we go. There it is. 404 not found. I'm sorry, what? Okay, localhost 3000. GraphQL. Is it GraphQL? What is my backend? Yes, it is localhost 3000. Did I made a typo or something here? No, I didn't. Okay. Why is it not found? I am so confused right now. Okay, wait a second. Preview for yes. Unknown query. Okay, so this works fine. Origin. That feels somewhat like Angular. But yeah, I mean, Angular was like the core ideas behind the Angular components and web components are very, very close on its own, right? And I think my guess is that probably quite a few people from Angular team worked on doing this. Oh, okay, I think I know what's wrong. So this is the pre-flight request, and because we don't have the course, it actually fails. So we need to fix the... We need to tell Graffiti to use course is what's the problem. Let me think for a second. So we don't actually... Okay, so first of all, let me create an issue. So there is a good idea. Course plugin. Would be cool to have course plugin, course support added as plugin to not have to set it up manually. Course can be annoying, but it's actually quite straightforward. So I used to hate it as well because I didn't quite understand how it works. But once you figure it out a couple of times, it's not super hard. Okay, anyway, plugins. So I think I'm just gonna take our next plugin and make this similar plugin here. The problem is that I cannot just basically say that, hey, this stuff works, right? So this is what we want. Okay, so create new folder. Let's create Graffiti course plugin. We can then later, or I think it was plugin course. I can later just fork it into or clone it into, what do you call it? Into the Graffiti itself. And literally all we need to do is register the course plugin here. And then I think Fastify actually had a course plugin. There was like the one from Ecosystem, so we can just probably take that. There we go. There's a Fastify course. So we can just add this to our yarn add Fastify course. We do the Fastify register. Yes, so there's our Fastify course. And const we just do that, and we just say course here. That's literally it, right? So this is This is probably the easiest plugin I've ever have to write. But now we have to actually plug it into the graffiti, which means we need to add the config. Let me think. So we need graffiti config.js. And it should include this stuff. Okay, so we need course plugin, and we actually require graffiti plugin course. And this goes course plugin, and so maybe we should change the MongoDB as well. Let's call it web components GQL app, whatever, that's fine. Okay, I think that should add course headers. At least, this is, if I remember correctly, how my own framework works. Graffiti start. Okay, and then if we yarn start this thing, theoretically should now handle the pre-flight correctly, unless it requires some special permissions. 400 bad requests. Okay. Why is it bad request? Cannot query. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, so it works now. Query passes, but the query breaks because the query tries to request the things that are not in the schema, which makes perfect sense. So all nodes, right? So we're gonna go. I think that actually should work, right? So this is the correct query. Yeah, this is the correct query because I've already used this in 200 different examples. So we're just gonna copy paste it here. Save it. Why are you not formatting it? Whoops. There we go. Let me have a look at the chat. I use Helmet, but I had to disable all the headers from Helmet anyway. Then why do you use Helmet if you disabled all the headers from it anyway? Course Anywhere. I think Course Anywhere is also a nice option, but Fastify core plugins are basically, I know that they are of high quality and actively maintained, so I typically lean towards them. With new Helmet major upgrade. I actually haven't used Helmet in ages. Like I do enable it when I'm deploying to production, but rather than that, I typically don't tweak it too much. Remix beta will be released soon, really hyped. Oh yes, definitely looking forward to Remix. We're probably going to have a stream on it once it's out. Tim, what do you think of Nest.js? Nest.js is very, like, I already talked about that, but it's very object-oriented, and this is not my cup of tea. For sure. Like, I don't hate it, but I would prefer something smaller, lighter, and more functional like Fastify. Okay, yes, there we go. It actually works. We actually get the data back. Okay, so we actually want to get the node many from here, right? And there we go. So this should render our empty array. Cool. So so I guess let's create. I'm still wondering if we're gonna have enough time to add the authentication and all that kind of stuff, which probably the answer is probably no, because we already spent half an hour figuring this out. But let's at least add creating new nodes and then viewing the nodes in a separate page, right? So that we have some hang on the navigation basically. So let us create a new component, right? I wonder if there's a stencil command that creates the component for you. My first component. I guess not, right? So you just have to manually do that, which I guess is fine. Stencil generate. Wait. So my first component, TSX stores components. TSX is required. Here's an extension. Yeah, okay. So it's just basically create your own folder, create your own. Yeah, sure. So let's call it add node, right? And okay, so the convention here is add node TSX. I'm just gonna copy all of that. So we do still need the query, but it's gonna be actually mutation, right? And we do need, so this is gonna be add nodes. I guess add nodes CSS, and I guess it should be here, right? Node CSS. I'm not sure if we're gonna need CSS here. It's gonna be Shadow DOM. Why not? Let's call it add node. Okay, so we are gonna have what? We're gonna have name, which is gonna be a string, and we're gonna have a body, which is gonna be a string as well. Okay. And this is whatever. Okay, so we don't need any of that. We need, what we need here is div class add node. So we're gonna have an input type. Maybe that's a good spot to drag in the text area. So maybe that's a good spot to drag in the separate, like this additional web components that would actually act as input and the text area. Placeholder, so this is going to be enter node's body. And this is going to be enter node's name. Okay, and then theoretically, I should be able to just do... no, wait a second, that's the wrong... That's the root, I don't need that anymore, actually. I need to go here and just say... add node, right? Oh, it even gives you auto-suggest. That is super convenient. Okay, so what is... reload this... cannot find module Puppeteer or its corresponding type declarations. How, what? Why are you trying to look for Puppeteer? Wait a second, what's going on here? Puppeteer declaration. Let me have a look at the chat. If you're into Angular and SJS are your best choice and the integrations are good so far. Yeah, it seems like it's really like from the Angular world, basically. But yeah. The web components embed all dependencies. If you make two separate components with the same depths, do they get duplicated? I think that depends on how you ship those components. So if you ship them as standalone, then yes, they will basically get duplicated. Is it possible to add pre-built components? Yes, it is possible, and we are going to do that. Is that because my yarn screwed something up, or what is going on? Let me just do the best thing ever and just RMRF node modules and do yarn install. Now, here's the thing. Yarn has been acting really weird for me lately. Like, I am not liking it at all. But the cool thing is that there's NPM version 7 coming out. Well, it's actually already released, but it's like pre-release essentially, right? And I'm looking forward to trying it out to see how it compares to Yarn in terms of speed. Okay, so we actually got our nodes. Okay, first thing first. How do I do the reactive data? There we go. So this is a watch. No, we don't care about watch. So it's internal state, right? So how do I actually open blah blah blah? How do I handle inputs? Their input. Right, my JavaScript is probably blocked. And input user. Yeah, there we go. Handling user input. So we got handle alert. This is not the input I want. Is there an input? Yeah, there we go. So on change. This. Okay, so there's this thing with this again. It's like React took few years to basically. I think it should like. Okay, so this probably should work, right? As in the automatically bounds methods with arrow function. Okay, so we got this UI event, console log, events, targets, value. Okay. Why are you not happy? Oh, TypeScript, come on. Seriously. Okay. How do I love TypeScript? So this is HTML input is going to be HTML input elements as HTML. Whoa. I think that should do it, right? There we go. It's no longer complaints. So, oh, I'm actually adding it to the wrong place. That is home. We shouldn't touch this. We should do it here. Okay, so inputs on change, and we do this on change here. Okay. I think that should work, question mark. Reload. No, it does not. What did I do wrong? Yeah, wait a second. I have it running. Okay, cool. So what's this input event target value? Okay. It seems like it should work, right? Did it not bind it correctly? I mean, we don't actually need to... No, we do need to bind it to this because we want to access state later on. So, okay, let's try this. Console log E. Will you work? Reload that. And it actually doesn't trigger on change for whatever reason. Why does it not trigger on change? Right. No, but I mean, key up is, yeah, sure, but... No, the current target is not a thing here, right? Like you got this, there's the event, and they have event target value in their official docs. Handle events on click. this handle click bind this. Yeah, okay, that's... How is this not working? Arrow function. Okay, wait a second. So we got this thing. Yeah, okay, let's try. What if we do it like as a class function without binding and just... But it doesn't even trigger this. Is it because I named it on change? And handle name change, I guess. Whoops, it should be this handle name change. Are we working? Yes, we are. And it doesn't actually... Oh! Oh! Okay, so that's a difference. I guess that's a difference on how it works with... that's not what I expect. Okay, so it handles on change if you press enter and only if you press enter. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, they could have clarified that, but is they actually clarified here? Wait a second. So if I do this on change... Nope, they don't. Okay, so that feels like that should be documented. Lowercase on change. No, it's not lowercase. Like, look at the docs. It's not lowercase. There's another example of listening to change. So is there... Wait a second. On change. Storage. Watching props changes. Conditionals. Yeah, it's not documented. So it's just like, hey, this stuff happens. I mean, I guess I could go on key up as somebody suggested. I assume it also exists. On key up, I guess, right? So this should be... Yeah, okay. So on key up works exactly as on change does. Oh, you mean the native one, but I don't think it actually... This is... It probably doesn't exist in JS6, so it's just going to complain. Yeah, so this is not... Because we're compiling from JS6 to the native stuff, this is not what you would do in a browser, right? Okay, anyway, let's go and... Yeah, why not? On change is fine as long as we know how it behaves, which means that this only will get committed once we hit the enter, so which means we can say this name is equal HTML input value. Okay, and then... right, so the next question here would be... So I guess we can do the same for handle body change. The only problem is that the enter won't actually trigger change on the text input, right? So the text area, because it is a text area. This body. Okay, I'm curious. On change, so how will this work? Like, some of those things are really feel a bit weird because, you know, coming from React where they behave completely different. Yeah, nothing triggers on change here. Okay, then. Okay, you know what? Let's go with on key up because that is more consistent at least and works the same way across all of those, I assume. So ASD, no, what? I'm sorry, what now? Are we recompiled? How? Wait a second. Why is it not working anymore? We are still running, right? Mutation is declared. Yeah. Fine, I know that. Where is my... What is happening? How is it stopped working? On key up, yes, this looks fine. On key up over here, this looks fine. You were just... Oh, I'm a moron. I stopped logging it, right? Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Right, that is my own fault. Okay, so we need some button or something that we actually will press to see the result. God damn it, I'm an idiot. I was like, why is it not working? Create notes. Okay, let's call it create notes. Let's go it over here. And then console log notes. Then we're gonna say that note is name is gonna be this name, and then body is gonna be this body. There we go. Okay, so once we do that and press button, there we go, it actually works. And if I type more, yeah, okay, so this works as expected. I'm just being a dumbass myself. Right, so let's first of all, let's try to drag in the third-party components, I guess, right? So we got the web components catalog here. We could probably let's say input. So what do we have input wise? I know that there's like the paper input, for example, which looks really fancy. Paper polymer, yeah. Okay, so how do you include third-party components into the stencil? First of all, let's install it, I guess. So we only need to stop our front-end thingy. What is going on? Okay. Did it just drag the whole polymer with it? Okay, that's a lot of stuff. Anyway. So, using third-party components. Is there framework integrations? Config targets, components. Import. I mean, I guess I can just import it in place and use it, right? That should work. So we just do that over here. And then we just do that. I wonder if that will work. Are you gonna work? It actually does work. Okay, that is impressive. That was a lot easier than I thought. It does feel a bit weird to import it in a way that, you know, that you actually don't... Yeah, can you import the... Wait a second. Can I actually import the component from it? Is that a thing? Paper input? Yeah, I can. Okay, that feels a lot better. So can I do that? Are you a thing? Can I import you? No, I can't. Okay. Well, that's fine. You know what? Since we're using web components, we're going to be importing them as web components, meaning as ES modules, and that is perfectly okay. Now, how do I... So we got the floating label. No, we don't always float labels, so this is going to be enter node name. How do I handle... Where's the thing? How do I handle changes? Where's the documentation? There we go. That's what I want. Is that like, are you... The documentation button leads on this very page. How am I supposed to... What the... come on. Okay, yes. How do I handle the changes, goddammit? So, right. Okay, bringing in inputs is not hard. Figuring out how the hell do they work is hard. Paper input demo. Okay, so where's the demo? You know what? Maybe we should just search for that. Maybe there's a better docs at some place. Paper input. There we go. GitHub. That should have a good docs, right? It is exactly the same README. Demo tests. There's usually some stuff in the tests. Input, container, char counter. Char counter. There we go. That should handle the input, right? Slots ID. How do they calculate the DOM query selector? Are you literally telling me I have to... So I have to query for it by ID and then get the value from it? Is that what you're telling me? Doesn't have any events or anything like that? Okay. I mean, let's have a look at the source code. So, paper inputs, error message, label, paper input label, prefix, search, placeholder, autosave, results. In the same way, but like it doesn't seem to have that on change property. Or okay, let's try doing the on key up really. Maybe you are right and maybe I'm overthinking it. Okay, so let's see. Does that work? Did I? Yeah, there we go. Hello. Create. Okay, you were right. I was overthinking it and it actually does work. But having some documentation for that wouldn't hurt. At least saying like, hey, that actually behaves the same way as an input. It's not that hard to mention that, right? That just extends the input or something? Paper input, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it uses iron inputs. I guess we have to go to the iron input docs for that. Okay, that's not the best developer experience. Anyhow, okay, so we figured that out. Let's see text area. Do we have a text area component? We got, I mean, paper inputs, text inputs, wired text area. Okay. Is there an example somewhere here? Properties, placeholder, theme of components, wired elements. Oh, is this, I mean, no. I would prefer something a bit more. Iron auto grow text area. Yeah, that seems like, yeah, let's go with that. Since we're already using Polymer, why not drag in another thing? So yarn adds I do like the pure modularity of that, basically. So the fact that you can, you know, just drag in a component and start using it immediately without thinking too much about which framework you're using and so on and so forth, and then literally just use polymer elements, combine them with whatever else you want, and all of that just works. That's like, this is kind of awesome, to be honest. Okay, so we got this thing. I assume we can also throw in the placeholder and on key up thing, right? So I assume this is gonna work. And okay, hello, and then test text that is supposed to grow. Grow, yeah, okay, if I keep typing, yeah, so it's automatically increases in size, and if we press, yeah, that works. Okay, that's cool. Let's do a fancy button, I guess, now. Like, this is the experience I really, really dig. Like, okay, obviously there's some downsides, like the lack of documentation for some of those things, but it's not critical. Like, the fact that it's that easy to drag in components and just drop them into your app is kind of neat. Okay, start it back. We, no, stop up. I wish I could just say it to stop opening the new tab every time. Okay, so we need this import. I wonder if we can just bootstrap this. Wait a second. So, there is global app.ts, right? I wonder if we can just import it over here, right? So we're just like, hey, we're using those things. Probably that should work. Okay. Yeah, let's try that maybe. And I really hope on-click method actually works on it. So I'm not sure class Indigo will do anything, but let's give it a shot. Okay, yeah, it actually does work. Cool. So this is actually surprisingly awesome. Okay, so we got this add node thing, which means we can define the class. We can say display flex, and then flex direction is gonna be column. It's probably gonna be good. There we go. Okay, and then maybe add some margin between them. Okay, let me think. Class. What? No, not that class. Name input. I'm just gonna add some like slight styling and just space them around a bit so that we are not so claustrophobic, basically. Button. Create button, let's call it this way. So theoretically I shouldn't even care about the names, right? Because this is Shadow DOM, so basically we can use the same names everywhere and it won't clash anyway, which is kind of cool. The fact that basically with React you had to think about some of those things is a bit annoying. Margin, let's make it 1 EM or something. I don't know, that's too much maybe? See, so if I do that, save this. Yeah, that's definitely too much. 0.5. Whoops, that is 0.5. Is that better? Yeah, that looks okay. Right, so, and if we can do this, say, flex 1, that's not what I want to do, right? Yeah, that's not what I want to do. I actually want to say with 100% is what I want to do. That's too much. Okay. I guess I had a better experience with lit element even with its template literals. Interesting. So maybe we should give it a try. Maybe we should try to build our component at some point as well. Where's the last character of hello? Was there no hello? Worlds. No, seems everything is in place, right? So it seems like it actually is working as intended. Okay, raised, yes. So this should be create node. Okay, so we got that. Yep. This works as expected. So now, oh, it actually does persist the state upon page reloads, which is kind of neat. Okay, maybe we don't want it raised. Maybe we just do that. That should be a bit nicer. Cool. Okay, so now we need to send that mutation, which means we need the docs for this thing. How do we do mutations here? Mutation. Usage. Endpoint query. Okay, so if you just add variables, it's basically going to send it as a mutation, I assume. which means that we need to write our create. I think I should have it in history. Add node. There we go. Yes, please just give me that. Okay, so this is our mutation. Add nodes. We're gonna, yeah, so name, body, record name. But yeah, okay, cool. That looks good. So we are, yeah, where's my, we did this here, right? So we just, we can kill this console log. We don't need this anymore. So you can just say, right, okay, so this is the, yeah, okay, so we're gonna figure it out later. That's fine. Results, that's gotta be a sync, and then we need to say, so we don't save it anywhere. Okay, that is a sync in the wrong place, fair enough. Requests, query, and then we're gonna be mutation, and then variables, and variables is gonna be this, right? Variables, okay. Okay, all right, we need requests, which means we need our, yeah, it should be just imported from here. All right, I think that should create the node now. Just reload the page. Where's our network? Cool. Okay, so hello world. Create nodes. It actually seems like it did. Okay. Now, okay, so now the problem is inter-component communication, right? So we created the node, but we actually want to notify this component here that loads the nodes that there is a new node and you basically have to reload, right? Side notes, documentation for Polymer library is separate from their components. Search Polymer project data. But this is silly. Like if you publish your components somewhere, there has to be at least a link for the documentation, right? And the link they have here leads to this damn page. It's just ridiculous. Oh man. Okay, but thank you, Jimmy, for notes. Let me just have a look. Say Polymer project data bindings. Okay, so it's like on the separate. Why not just link to this? Like, come on, man. It's not that hard. Okay, there's actually pretty comprehensive docs over here. Right, okay. Well, thank you for bringing this to my attention. That's pretty good. But yeah, it's just, why not link to that? Anyhow, let's see how do we make components talk to each other. I remember seeing, so what we saw, what was it called? Was it in the Stencil config? The task queue, right? So is there like a message bus or something that we can events to do complete? So we can make something event emitter. Yeah, I guess we can do that, right? So we can just emit event. Yeah, I guess that will work. So we can just say nodes added, right? And this is gonna be event emitter from here. And let's just go with object for now because I don't care about typing. And what we could do is, so what was the result? Oh god, okay, right. New nodes 1 to 3, create nodes. So the node create is what we node create record is what we want to get from the result, right? Node is results, node creates records, and we need to emit that. Okay, so we say this node added emits node is what we want to do. Okay, so that means that now our add nodes is event emitter, which means we're doing this here. Which means that we need to figure out how the hell do I listen to that. Listen decorator. Okay. Wait a second. Oh, so they are global events. Interesting. So you don't listen to a specific component event, but you listen. Are they like bubble to the all the way to the top? Is that what happens? Okay. Anyway, let's see how that works out. So we got this thing, right? We got listen should be imported from here. I guess definitely some unconventional things happening here. Let's put it this way. Note events detail. Is that detail is custom thing or that's something that he sent here to do? No. Okay, so I guess detail is the payload. Okay, and add note. Let's call it add note handler. Okay, so theoretically, once we add, what is going on? Let me reload this. Okay, this works fine. Okay, right. So another node. Blah, 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 just hit it. Okay, node creates. Where this is coming from my add node entry, so it doesn't seem like... Am I listening to the correct event? Oh, no, I'm not. Yep, okay, of course I'm listening to the wrong thing. Right, I could never name things correctly. Magic strings, incredible thing to use. Okay, store. Oh yes, there is a store, isn't there? But we don't really need a store in this case. Like, I guess maybe we do. Maybe you are right and I should just look into the store. Where is guides, config, static, framework integration? Is there a store? Interactive internal. No, it doesn't seem like there's is there, like, I mean, I guess you can drag in any store, right? Because it's like any framework agnostic storage should work. But you know what? We're fine. We're just gonna bubble an event and that should theoretically work perfectly fine for us. Okay, I'm getting tired of coming up with a new node name. So there we go. It actually works. Okay, cool. So we got this node, which means that we're just saying const nodes is this, which means that we're gonna say this nodes equals nodes concat this node. So we're gonna push it on the very first place. And theoretically, that should actually automatically, why is it not? Oh yeah, right, because I'm not formatting this. So let me change that real quick. Should be a bit nicer to read, right? Cool, okay. But it actually should, yeah, okay, you know what? Let's push it to the very top. So let me refresh that. Hello, new notes, blah, blah, blah. Create notes, and it actually does work. Okay, cool. We get it dynamically over here, which is quite nice. Right, so what we need to do as well is... Okay, so we need actually two-way bindings or references to those components, because in addition to creating that, we should be able to reset the values for them, right? Okay, so is there a two-way binding thing here at all? Reactive data. This is the voice decorator. Okay, I mean, I guess I can just... Okay, references? Is there like reference? Getting a reference to DOM elements. There we go. Text inputs, HTML. Yeah, okay, so this is... Right, and how to... Okay, so you have the ref thing the same as React. Okay, cool. Sure, that's easy enough. Which means that... Okay, so we need the... Right, so we got this thing. We got the... name input, and we got the body input. Okay, this is our event. That is fine. And then this ref thing. Okay, so we just, I guess better to put it somewhere in the end. This name input. Yep, okay. And the same over here. This is gonna be body inputs, right? Which means that here, after we created this, we're gonna say this name inputs value reset, and then this body inputs value reset, right? Okay, so I think that should do it. Okay, reload just in case. So hello, another note, new notes, create notes. Yep, that actually does work. Cool. So this works as expected. So what we basically have left to do is, first of all, render the nodes in a nice way. And second of all, create another page, I guess, with a node, expanded nodes info. And that's probably would be a good wrap up for the stream. So let's start with a new component for nodes, right? So, okay, let's call it just a node, I guess, right? And it's going to be nodes tsx. And I guess I'm just going to copy the whole thing from here. So we will not... Yeah, okay, so this is another question. How do we actually handle properties, right? Because we haven't touched on that yet. So which means that we're going to have name, we're going to have body, and that's basically it. And you're gonna be called nodes. That is gonna be nodes, and yeah, I guess let's create node CSS because we're definitely gonna be styling this. Whoops, that is too many S's. Okay, that looks good. Right, so we don't need mutations, we don't need GraphQL here, we do not need state because it's gonna be stateless. Okay, name and body. Name never used. Where did you even get that from? Right, so how do we access props is the next question. Reactive data properties. There we go. This is what we want to do. Prop. Okay, so it's another decorator. I'm not a fan of that, but you know what? That's fine. We can work with this. So we got the prop, and it just deleted it. I saw that, so please put it back. Okay, so we got the prop, and we're basically gonna say nodes, and it's gonna be an. I really feel like I should define the prop. Sorry, the type for node. But you know what? Let's just go with a name. Which is gonna be a string, and with body, which is also gonna be a string. Which means that this is. I assume this is how you access them, right? Through this body and this name. Yep. Okay. So this seems straightforward. Okay. Right, which means that now here we can just go to our home. And since the components are automatically bundled, I guess, right? We can just say that, hey, I'm gonna leave the, whoops, no. I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna just say this nodes map, nodes, nodes, name is gonna be nodes. Oh, right. Maybe it's a bad idea to call it node here. No, so let's call it node data because otherwise there's gonna be name clashes. And then body is gonna be nodes data body. Okay. Yeah, you're obviously gonna complain because you don't know that it exists, but will you compile? No. Okay, so they definitely have something. Something is a bit wrong with TypeScript here because it complains about the wrong broken types. Okay, so I should probably say that, yeah, okay, so this is type nodes, and it has the name string and body string. Okay, and this should be node, and then as nodes, and this should work. Okay, I think that should fix it. Yeah, okay. No, what? Why is it again complaining about Puppeteer? Web components should have prefix, in your case, app. Why do they need to have prefix? They don't need to have prefix. Web components definitely don't need to have prefix. What did I... Okay, so no, that's app. That is correct. This is the node. This is node. Is that you saying from the docs? Is that literally what they need to be? I don't think that's the case. First component, blah, blah, blah. My first component. Here's an example. Don't fully understand. My first component, blah, blah, blah. What's really going on? Dive below, blah, blah, blah. Generator. They don't say anything about that in the documentation, at least. And I don't think that's like you can define any web component. It's just recommended to use prefixes because they can clash. But in our case, it doesn't matter. So component to-do list, tag, blah, 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 my embedded component. So why is it giving me errors again? Is it like, do I need to rebuild it? Where's my, come on. Okay, if I do this, are you gonna start working or no? Tag node must contain, okay, now it's custom valid. Okay, so it is a spec thing. Interesting. I was not aware of that. Valid custom element name is a sequence of characters name that meet all the following requirements. Name must match potential custom element name. Should have a pen char. Okay, so you need to have a dash in there. Okay. Right, let's call it node item or something, I guess. Let us rename that. So it's not prefix, it's just it should have the dash in it for whatever reason. That's an interesting. I wonder what was the reasoning behind that, but okay. So thank you, Tennis, for bringing that to my attention. I guess yeah, but it's weird that compiler didn't compile the first time, but if you restart it, actually starts complaining about the right thing. which is like, why did you complain about the, what was it the first time, the puppeteer? Like, why? Okay, so where's my notes? There we go. There's our notes. Okay, cool. So in this case, yeah, so we're rendering notes. We don't actually need the body here in this case, but that's fine. So we're just going to do this. And then we're going to render the link to another page, which is this. And this is going to be notes. And then this is going to be... okay, so this should be the URL and then note. And this is going to be ID is what we need to pass. Prop name, prop ID, right? Okay, so in this here, instead of passing the body, we're going to pass the ID. There we go. Maybe let's keep it consistent and just go with _ID. Okay, so yes, that means we need to say that this thing actually has ID as a string. Okay. What do you know? Oh, right. There should be this ID. Okay. I think that should, yep, okay, no, that still does not satisfy, not assignable. ID is not compatible with type string to type string. What? What's going on? This is how browser works if it sees web components. Yeah, I mean, I already looked at the spec, so thank you very much. I guess it wasn't yet implemented back when I touched them the first time. Okay, right, because I'm assigning the wrong thing here, so we call the ID here. Yeah, okay, so this should fix it, right? Yeah, no. Does not satisfy the constraint elements. What is going on? String is not assignable to string or string. Oh. But it is, all of them are strings, right? What are you talking about? ID string, yes, this looks fine. This looks fine. This is a string. This is... type string is not assignable to type string and string. Should I use lowercase string anywhere? Is that what you want me to do? I mean, I can do that. That's fine. You're gonna work with like this? Can we start working, please? All right, I had this open already. There we go. Okay, so buttons is not exactly what we wanted, but let us... so we need a link. Is there a fancy link component? This is the silliest lookup that I ever did, but you know what? That's fine. Web router. You know what? I'm not gonna... No. I'm not gonna pull in the whole, like, link thing here. We're just gonna use an A here, and that should be fine. There we go. Okay. And that's, yeah, so this is not going to render anything because this page does not exist, which means that we need to rename the app link, oh no, app note. And I guess we have to rename the whole damn thing, which is a bit annoying. But I guess that's, no, you know what? I'm not going to rename everything. That is going to take too much time. Instead, we're going to create app. Okay, I already have... You know what? It's fine. I'm going to rename it. Okay, I'm just going to kill the tests because we're not going to rewrite that. Delete permanently. Spec delete permanently. Rename that to app notes. And this is going to be app notes. Notes. Okay, this app note. Prop match results. Normalize name. I have no idea what that is. Okay, so we got this. This is fine. Right, so it was bootstrapped in the root, if I remember correctly. Right, so we got this thing. Is going to be notes. It's going to be ID. Which means that here it's probably going to pass this thing as ID, right? We don't need to normalize it, so I don't care about this. This match params ID. My ID is this params ID. Okay. So just do that. Okay. I think that should do it? Question mark. Let's see. Reload that. What? Not okay. So I guess it's the compiler doesn't like when you delete files after it already compiled everything. Is that the case? which, you know, is understandable. Okay, now we're working. And if I click here, it doesn't actually work. So we got this URL. We got the app nodes. Stencil router link URL node. Okay, we got this app node. Yes, this seems fine. We got this. Where's the, wait a second, where's my, we got this root thing, node ID, component app node. Yeah, okay, so that seems fine. Why are we not working? And if I reload that, okay, it works on reload, but not when you click on it. Oh, now it works. Is that just cache? I guess it was just cache. Okay, so it actually works. Okay. Which means that we can render the data. Okay, the question here is, so we already actually have the whole node, right? So can I pass it to the routes? Like, obviously, you know, in the more complex scenarios, you would pass the ID and then have the app node run yet another query. But we want to actually just pass it because we have the whole thing anyway. So this part is coming from the stencil route link. Stencil route static site. I'm guessing it's not in this documentation, but somewhere else. Let's see. Routing using Stencil. This is DigitalOcean. Can I get official docs, please? Is there like whoa, no, what? No, I don't want to search the maps for Stencil route link. Stencil route link components. Stencil router, there we go. This is what I wanted. Okay, let me see. Stencil route link. URL exact active class. Doesn't seem like you can pass any data. So I guess it sort of assumes that you throw, but I mean the history, so we can use the history push and throw in the payload, but this is a bit, like, I don't want to do it manually. This is a bit silly. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it supports it, so I guess we can just load it manually, right? Ionic guys have too much frameworks they maintain, so loses some dev experience things. Well, I mean, most of those things are quite tightly coupled, right? So I don't think, it's like, it's just the structure is a bit all over the place. I don't think it's specifically the problem of having too many frameworks. No, exact is just the match for the exact reallocation, right? So that's not what we want. We want, is that exact? This is not exact. Yes, it's not exact. Exact. So this one is exact, which means we will only match the exactly root thing. But anyway, we can just load it. That's perfectly fine. So where's our home? I can just basically copy this thing, and here we're basically whenever, so we need the state. State is going to be nodes. In our case, it doesn't actually matter. Object. Okay. Right, we need the state from the stencil core. And we actually want only one node, and we want to send variables. And the variables is gonna be, we gotta, I guess ID is gonna be this match params ID, right? So this is what we want to do. And then let me just do this for now. Stringify this node. That should be node, right? So it shouldn't be one node, now two. Okay. Okay. I think it is node 1. And then the thing is that this query is wrong because we need only one node. Thank you for following, Fisherman. Hope you're enjoying this stream. Okay, so we are going to get only one node now, and we are going to get it by ID, which means we're going to say node 1 filter. ID is $ID, and then here it's going to be, let's call it get nodes. We're going to say that ID is Mongo ID and it's required. Okay, I think that should do it. Right, so we do this, filter by ID, get the ID, that looks fine. And we, oh, okay, all right, so this should be ID now here. I think that should actually do the trick for us. Yep, it actually does. Cool. Okay, so we just need to render that nicely into this node's name and then this node's body. Right, okay, you don't like that. Okay, of course, this is going to be node. Probably a good idea to share the type somehow, but you know what? I'm too damn lazy for that, so we're just going to leave it at that. Reload this. Undefined. What do you mean undefined? Cannot read name of undefined. Oh. Yeah, what you want? Network. What is going on now? Show me my XHRs. So node 1. Yeah, that seems like it should work? Question mark. Where is it failing? What is going on now? Cannot read property node of undefined up node. This node name, node body, JSON stringify. Yeah, why do you mean you cannot read? Oh, because, right, I'm an idiot. Because this node name is not like, okay, fine. So what is my fault. So basically we need the loading state for whenever this node doesn't exist. So if there's no nodes, now we're going to show div that says loading. And if there is nodes, we are going to show another div that will actually contain our nodes. There we go. I think that should fix it, right? Request. There we go. Okay, now it works. Okay, cool. Hello world. Yep, so we need some sort of formatting here. I'm not going to go with anything super fancy. Just throw in a header here and throw in a div here. There we go. That looks fine. We no longer need this. And I think if we... Yeah, okay. So first of all, the header we have should be clickable, right? So this seems like a good idea. Where's the header actually? There it is. Okay, so this should be... let me think. So this should be this stencil router link thing. And it should always lead to the root, right? So God, why are you not formatting it? Yep. Okay, cool. So we can actually, yep, we can click on things and it still seems to be using the old stuff, but that is perfectly fine. Why is it not formatting it? Is my pre-tier not working or something? Fisherman, sorry, I don't really have any bots, but feel free to ask the questions yourself. I'm just gonna be instead of a bot here. I'm too terrible at streaming, so I don't actually have any setup and just answer everything myself, you know. Okay, so we did that. We did... this is a default font that VS Code uses. I haven't actually tweaked that. So it's just... I mean, if I remember correctly. Fonts. Yes, I haven't changed font. It's just a bit larger font size. Default VS Code font, whatever that is, basically. Right. Let me... Or maybe it's a theme font, actually. Color theme. Yeah, so I'm using... What is my theme? A lot of outdated settings here. There is a lot of outdated... Okay. I shouldn't have gone here. That was a mistake. Theme OneDark Pro is a theme. I don't know if it actually uses any custom fonts. VS Code OneDark Pro. I'm getting distracted again, but I don't know if... So basically this is the theme VS Code OneDark Pro, and whether it uses any custom fonts, this is basically what I'm using. So I haven't tweaked it specifically. Okay, anyway, coming back to the app. I guess let me... First of all, let me stop it for now, and then let me kill the... We no longer need this thing. We no longer need this thing because it's no longer working, and this is actually it, right? Casually surfing Twitter while, yes. Do not keep the suspense. Yarn start. Okay, so I think we're actually done with the app. Reload that. Why are you still using this? What is going on? I'm pretty sure I killed. There we go. I guess it was recompiling. There we go. Okay, cool. So, yep, we got that. We can return. We can see all the nodes. There's a loading state. Yeah, I mean, works. 1 out of 3. Create nodes. Yeah. I mean, it's not a terrible experience. I still would prefer React, but you know what? Okay, so here's another question. If we go all here, so if we... Okay, first of all, let's commit what we did just now. Let's add this atrocity and commit basic node management app. Okay. Another question I have is how big is it gonna be if we compile it and release it essentially, right? So for that, we actually need Stencil. Where's the docs? We need to... How do I build it? It's probably in the package.json, right? Package.json, Stencil build. Okay, so we do yarn build. What is it going to give us? Is it like just a I mean, it should be just a static web app, right? So I guess it's just making this www folder with index and that's it. Okay. Sure. Okay, so simple server. How do I not... Wait a second. I don't have Python installed. Oh yeah, I do have Python installed. No module name simple server. God damn it. Python 2? No? Okay. I think I can do npx serve, right? I just want some simple server. I used to use Python for that, but apparently I didn't install it on my new machine. Okay, localhost, was it 3,000? No, not 3,000. 8,000? 8080? What is the serve package ports? Serve folder configuration. Come on, I know there's... So I guess it cannot serve because port 3000 is already taken. Is that the problem? Oh, 5,000. Okay. Right, of course. 5,000. Does it use service worker? No, the one that we did right now does not use service workers. Why are you... Build app. Okay, do we have a build folder here? We don't have a build folder here. Assets, icon, yeah, manifest. So where is the source code? Wait a second. This is style. Where's my scripts? Did it finish the build? Wait a second. Am I doing something wrong? Yarn builds. Okay, so build app, prod mode started, transpile, copy started, generate lazy, copy finished, 3 files. Prop name ID is preserved. Oh, okay, so we cannot use prop name ID. Sure, let's fix that. We can do this. It's not a big deal for us. Let's, what was it? Node TS6? No, it wasn't node, right? It was in node item, right? It was here, and let's call it node ID. Why not? It doesn't matter to us what it's called. So node item. I don't need to install it. I mean, npx pulls it in, right? So it's like this is not a problem. Okay, that should fix it. It is perfectly fine. What are you complaining about? Oh, this is why I was complaining about the string thing. Okay. So let me build it again. It does not produce the dist folder. It produces the www folder, but for whatever reason, it doesn't have a single script file. I don't know why. Okay, build finished. We got this www folder. There's index. There's host. Oh, there is build folder now. Okay. Why is it not here? It just not refreshed? Eh? Is it just because the VS Code ignores it? Okay, so it is there. Okay. npx serve. Right, come on now. We're nearly there. It's nearly worked. I wonder if maybe it's this serve issue. It just doesn't serve. It seems like some files are missing. Okay, is there a better npm.js? Okay, Python 3 simple server. Is there a simple server CLI equivalent for Python 3? Because I don't want to drag in Python 2 because I never use it anymore. Yes, this is exactly what I want. Python 3 minus mhd. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. 8,000. So, and yep, there are files missing. Why? Fascinating. So the build failed? Question mark. Why is it fading? It says the build is successful, but then it just doesn't actually build. Am I doing something wrong? Wait a second. Maybe generate is what we want to run. Yarn. Okay, wait a second. Remsref. Okay, I'm in the wrong folder. Okay, yarn generate. Maybe this is what we want to run. Oh, okay. This is the generate for. No, that's not what I want to run. So why is the. Why does the yarn build fails? Static site generation overview. I mean, I don't care about static sites. It's just output targets. Stencil core, output targets, type this, type da. Okay, so for whatever. Okay, right. So this should work, right? It seems like it should just function because this is what is by default there, but okay. Dist. Right, so is it just the config is wrong basically? Yeah, okay. I mean, let's try to add it. Type dist base URL. Oh, is it because the base URL is wrong? Is that what the problem is? Localhost 5000. So let me try to do both because I'm not. Is that what you want? Base URL is another thing for dist. Okay, interesting. Sure. Serve dist minus s. Well, I mean, I'll just use Python. I'm too lazy for that. Okay, so we when generating distribution, it is recommended to choose a unique namespace rather than default app. Okay, sure, fine. Where do I change that namespace? Or how do I just tell you to ignore that? Okay, config. Let's go to config. Why? If it's recommended, but it's fine with this, why do you complain? It's not. Come on, why does it have to be so annoying? Okay, web components, GraphQL app. There you go. Is that good enough? You got build now? So I guess the dub target is not the same as dist, which is like, why is dist not here by default? A bit confusing. Okay. Package JSON, main property, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there's a bunch of warnings. Collection types. I don't know what those are. Okay, but let's see. So we got the dist folder now, right? Okay, sure. So I guess, no, wait a second. Why is this what? Wait a second. Is this folder the distribution of the components? Output targets. Okay, let's have a look. Dist. Dist is to generate components. Oh, okay. So this is actually wrong. Okay, right. I should have probably read the description first. So we don't need dist. We actually need the www. Was that because the base was wrong? So, okay. Let me just open another window and we're gonna just serve the building express.js, web components. Okay, Python. No, that's not what I want. Minus M. Where is my... That's not even it. Come on. Why is it not in the history? No, it's there. Okay, sure. There we go. Okay. We are now serving this on 8000. Build app CSS not found. Okay, now we're missing CSS files. What is going on? Breathe in and breathe out. Oh, yeah, that's a good advice, but I was just trying to figure out what's wrong. So the names here are completely different from what it's trying to... What? Stencil, what are you doing? Stop. Why is this not working? My wife is trying to comfort me with a plushie here. Am I that agitated? Okay, anyway. Yeah, okay, so the build for some reason doesn't work. Does anyone work with Stencil and has any idea why? Property, base URL, build dir, empty. By default, each dir, emptied all files, index HTML, service worker. Base draft should not be specified if there is no subdirectory. Okay, so we can just basically do this, right? So that should work, is what you're saying. So let's try that. Like, everything was going so well up until this point. Why is it not compiling? Okay, please install missing... Oh, okay, I guess you have to specify the service worker null. Otherwise, it will try to bundle the service worker. Okay, sure, let's do that. So it actually bundles the service worker by default, which is interesting considering it's not configured by default. I guess it's fine. Okay, so let's see. Does it work? No, still app CSS is missing. And there's like a bunch of other files that are missing. How does that work? I don't understand why. This file works fine, right? No, it doesn't. And connection refused. Is that my Python server is doing... Is that my Python server at fault? Okay, so you were saying serve -s. Okay, let's try this. Is it the Python... Like, did they change the behavior of Python server? So, 5,000. Okay, text resource. Transferred with MIME type text HTML. I mean, that's... okay, this is still... What is going on? Okay, so can I access this one now? No, I cannot. Do I have to... Seriously, just give me some CLI that can serve. npm CLI serve static. Oh, serve static CLI. Quick file server for yes. So something like that, please. HTTP server. Okay, let's try that. I need to find some command line that works. 8080. Okay, sure. 8080. Are you gonna work? Are we actually loading the files now? Preview response. Why is it failed? It is 200, but it says failed. Connection refused. Is that just something with my VSL? Is that the problem? Well, it does. Okay, so it serves the other stuff, but it fails to load some of them. Where's the global app CSS? It is here, right? So it should be working. What is going on? App CSS, build app. So those are actually hard-coded here. Okay, that's not very nice. Why are they hard-coded here? You have to, like, wait. Do they assume that I manually will copy this? Wait. Okay, wait a second. Introduction, my first component, getting started. So how do I build? FAQ builds. Stencil builds. Running for CI, config, dev, runs a development build, prod. So what is the, wait a second. Okay, so question number 1 is what build is executed when we do yarn build? So it's just stencil build without anything. Okay, so let's do yarn stencil build prods. Maybe this will help. Why is it not default? Production, optimize each file, max workers, no cache, no open, serve, watch, verbose. Now the serve dist minus s didn't work, so it's like I'm not sure. Maybe it's my VSL acting up or something, but it's just weird. It doesn't seem like it actually produces the required files for whatever reason. They're just not there. Like it expects this app and then a bunch of other files, and they're just not there. App global, like even this stuff is not like what is it? Just it doesn't seem like it builds half of the files. This is so weird. Okay, I honestly have no idea what's wrong. Like we just used it as is and we haven't actually changed anything with regards to build process. But the dev, like wait a second, dev version still works fine, right? It's like if I just start a dev version, where's your build directory? There's my build directory, but the VS Code, because of the git ignore, doesn't show the build folder that is indeed there. So if you see here, there's the build folder over here, but this doesn't show it because git ignore. Okay, wait a second. Wait. It stopped working completely? What is going on? Okay then. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this. Wait a second. Okay. I'm gonna kill yarn log, and we're gonna just use npm install here. Maybe it's the problem with my yarn question mark, but we haven't actually used it for anything, right? So, okay, let's see. So we installed a clean thing. PM run graffiti, right? npm run graffiti start. Yes, so we did that. So we start the backend. That works. npm start. So this should start the dev mode. And are we working now? Please tell me you're working. Why is it not fun? Why did you just randomly stop building stuff? We haven't even changed anything. What? I don't understand. Is that because we killed the base URL? Is it because we added namespace? Wait a second. So if I kill the namespace and I restart it, is that gonna fix the build? Are you So, okay, so if you kill the namespace, it starts building as it was before. Which is like, okay, that works fine, right? So, and then if you try npm run build, right, we added the namespace because of the this target, which is something we didn't need. Is it gonna start working now again? So wait, is it gonna work now? So go into this one and we go npx http server. Was that just because of one flag? Like seriously? 5,000. Oh, it's 8080, right? That's our wrong address. Are you kidding me? So if you use namespace in Stencil with a web app, it will break your build for some reason. Okay. I guess don't use namespace. I have no idea why it works this way. And but yeah, it seems like it's working now. Or not. Oh, it was cache. No, it doesn't work. So it still doesn't build all the... No, it's there, right? Well, okay, some of them are there now, but some of them are not. How does this work? Okay, you know what? I think I give up. I have no idea why the build doesn't work. It's just like, what? So now it produces more files than before. Wait a second, does it work? So you just have to run it multiple times? Is that the case? You just run it 2-3 times and then start working? Wait a second. Yep, so we ran it 2 times and now it actually compiles and works as expected. But what I wanted to see here actually is this resulting size of the thing. Damn it. Why does it have to be like this? Okay, so we have 300 kilobytes of JavaScript, which is not amazing considering what we have in the app, but not too terrible as well. We got 1.2 kilobyte of CSS, which is quite nice. Okay, I'm lying. 291 kilobyte of JavaScript and 1 kilobyte of CSS, and then basically everything else is our XHRs towards. So it's not like it's not a bad experience, but holy shit, some of those things are very rough. Like, it's a lot better than the web components I've touched like 5 years ago or whatever, whenever they were released. But yeah, comparing this to just about any other modern framework, even the experience with, you would think the established web component sets such as, you know, the paper components or whatever, Polymer framework, the way they present docs in the catalog is just like, no man, I'm not gonna work with that you know, daily basically. There's too many issues. But yeah, it's not completely terrible. Like, I can see potential. But I can say I'm impressed. Like, I definitely cannot say I'm impressed. Minor tweaks to build process. Okay. So I'm going to push that into the GitHub if you're curious about the source code. Lazy loading modules. Yeah, I mean, it does use the ES modules and everything, which is... there's the question, right? So it's going to be okay for some cases, but if your app is really big, it's actually going to influence the performance in a worse manner, right? So it's actually going to worsen your execution, worsen your performance, rather than improve it. This is why you need bundling, right? And yeah, no, I'm not, like, I definitely can see that web components have potential to become sort of the building block for the frameworks, especially because they are now standardized and they are now core, and the browsers and the teams who build browsers, they can actually optimize for performance for them, right? Which means that people who build frameworks like React or Angular or whatever can just leave the performance optimizations to the vendors, which is incredible. But on the other hand, it seems like it's going to take 5-10 more years to bring it to the state where it's usable. Because, yeah, it's like, it's not bad, but... And I guess there are probably, even now, use cases where you could go with them if you want to be like super lightweight, super fast, super small, and just you know that you're going to be targeting evergreen browsers. But man, it's rough. It's a rough experience. Comments-based GraphQL app for notes, I guess. Let's just call it GraphQL comments-based notes. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. We're gonna go public, create a repo. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't say that, you know, I'm impressed and I want to immediately switch everything to web components. No. Okay. But yeah, so that's basically all I wanted to do today. So if you guys have any questions, suggestions, things you want to ask or clarify, maybe you worked with web components for a long time and you have some thoughts of your own, so do share them with me right now. I will be more than curious to see them. I probably should update the README because this is not what I want to have there. Let me just be lazy as usual and copy stuff from my old README. Meanwhile, you have a couple of minutes to throw your questions into the chat. So I'm going to just take some old README and throw it in there. So, README, there we go. Okay, cool. Trying out Stencil and web components for GraphQL app. Basic GraphQL app. Okay, building a simple graph. Why is it so hard to type? GraphQL based notes app with Stencil. Okay, let's bring up a video. Web components in 2020. Like, it certainly progressed a lot since then, but holy crap, there's still some very, very rough edges pretty much everywhere. It's like, okay, small demo. Wait a second. YouTube is made with app. Yeah, I know. The YouTube was one of the first projects to adopt Polymer, but like Google did incredible push to like in general with web components, even when there were absolute shit, a lot of Google teams essentially pushed for new components, better components, and so on and so forth. And I think this is basically their enthusiasm around web components is what got us to the stage where they became okay-ish, basically. So yeah, how to build a simple notes app using Stencil and web components, right? So we need links to Stencil and we need links to web components, and I think that should do it. Okay, but yeah, I mean, again, it's not super terrible, but like, come on, this could have been so much better. And given how much time, but I guess, you know, I guess the time is not, you couldn't have done that faster because the spec was needed to be finalized, and this is very slow process, right? So I guess that's not a fair assessment to compare it to something like React or Angular, where it's a purely user-led framework that can move as fast as it wants, basically, right? Okay, let me just git commits, update readme with better description, and push up. Gestures in the web, swipe right, swipe. Yeah, I mean, gestures work perfectly fine, right? There's a lot, like, it's quite easy to do them now, and there's like a ton of libraries that make it easier, even easier for you. So I don't think that's a big problem in 2020. Hey, Kepler, welcome to the stream. We are unfortunately already wrapping up. Okay. Any more questions, suggestions, or things you guys want to ask? If not, then let's just wrap it up here and I guess go. There was a Cyberpunk live stream soon, right? So I need to watch that. I definitely need to watch that. Okay, let's see. Web components. Is there one word now? I cannot type apparently. Yes. Web components, GraphQL, demo, whatever. That's fine. Save changes. I don't even know what this was about. No. Well, you can always watch the VOD. It will be available immediately as usual. So, you know, just join our Discord and ask away there. I mean, you're already there, so you can just ask. So there we go. Right, doesn't seem like we have any more questions or suggestions, so thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your continued support and all your donations who, well, you know, all of you who did this, you know who you are. I wouldn't be here without you, and yeah, have an awesome rest of the week, and I see you on Saturday for some JavaScript news. So enjoy your rest of the week, and see you next time. Can you do Flutter stream? We could probably dive into Flutter at some point. So that's, I don't exclude this possibility. But since it's not strictly JavaScript, we're going to see when. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.